Hey, Jake.
Hey, Katie.
Welcome back to By Its Cover, a podcast where we pick out books by their covers and talk about them after we read them.
Consume them.
I got that done perfectly.
What's our book today, Katie?
Girlfriend on Mars by Debra Willis.
Oh, no.
You know, how many months ago was it that we picked out this book?
Well, I picked out this book.
I did too.
Oh, it was a coincidence, wasn't it?
It was a coincidence that we both picked out the book separately. I said, oh, Jake, I got this book that I picked out. It's called Girlfriend on Mars. And you're like, oh, I have that one. I picked that one out a few months ago, and it's sitting here in this pile.
Yep. My to-read addiction pile.
Yeah, that one. So now we finally both read it, like a year later.
It's less than a year. I think it was
6 months.
It was maybe 11 months.
Barely less than a year. Do you want me to describe the cover?
I'll describe it.
Okay, do it.
Okay, so this book, the background is the setting of what I assume to be Mars. Mm-hmm. It's got sort of a tannish font. It says Girlfriend on Mars. In deeper tannish font, a novel. And in black font, Debra Willis. There is a feminine character in a space suit with a pink visor. And she's got a selfie camera phone. And she's throwing up a peace sign. What?
So tell me what drew you to this book
I don't know.
and what were you expecting from it?
I don't know. I was looking for something different. I like new.
Yeah.
And that honestly, that's what part of what this podcast is about is I want to be surprised by things I typically wouldn't gravitate towards. I do get surprised by smut. But no, it's like how do you force yourself to break out of your comfort zone without going skydiving? You go pick out a book by its cover.
That's right. That is the next less risky thing than skydiving.
Yeah. So adrenaline junkies. This is an adrenaline junkie podcast. Yeah. Because I don't know what it's going to be inside the book when I pick it out. Ooh, adrenaline.
I'm so glad you finally read this book.
This book is a horror book.
For Jake.
This is, okay, if you've listened to any other episode about what I consider to be horror, so go back to the Cunning Folk book, where the most horrific part of that book was the lack of communication between husband and wife. Mm-hmm. This book is 100% lack of communication between boyfriend and girlfriend. Like,
oh man, I don't know how Jake's going to get through this book.
God damn it. Start us off, Katie, because I can't.
Okay, let me just say, I thought that this was going to be a lighthearted book. Based on the cover, I was like, this looks kind of funny. Definitely satirical, though.
I definitely thought it was like, I made a long-distance girlfriend on Mars.
First off, before we go into the plot of this book, I feel like we're really like just getting our emotions all out there. I feel like if Debra Willis has not met Ned Bowman, who wrote Venomous Lumpsucker.
Oh my God.
Those two, I feel like would be best friends. Because this book and that book, same vibes for me. Very, very similar vibes. Satire. So this book follows Amber and Kevin, who have been in a long-term relationship for a long time.
14 years.
14 years. Jake knows. All of this book was very traumatic for Jake.
I'm sweating.
Yeah. 14 years. They have an indoor, like a hydroponic weed business that they do together. And you don't get the sense that Kevin ever really leaves the house. And Amber used to be a gymnast. She had an injury that prevented her, I think, from going to the Olympics.
Yeah, she hurt her shoulder.
Yeah. And over the course of their relationship, it's revealed that, she's cheated on him a couple times.
3 times.
Jake knows this relationship in and out. It played back in his dreams. He had nightmares about this.
I did have a nightmare about this book.
anyway, Amber applies to this kind of reality TV show competition thing to move to Mars permanently. Like the two winners will be chosen to be shipped off to Mars and start colonizing Mars, I guess.
Which is exactly how we should pick all of our astronauts.
Reality TV, man.
Especially the ones that are going to planets that we've never set foot on.
Yeah. So she announces this to Kevin, who is like, what the fuck? I'll let you take it from here. Since we both read this.
Yeah. I was hoping you would do the whole episode. She announces this to Kevin in a way that says, hey, I've been accepted. I'm going out to dinner with my parents to celebrate. You're welcome to come.
Ouch.
And Kevin's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Right. Not happy about it.
No.
Kevin's mother was a recluse, I guess you would say. What's it called when you don't go outside? A hermit.
Agoraphobic.
Agoraphobic, yeah. She lived in the house and Kevin resented her. And then Kevin's mother died and Kevin started to go the same direction.
Yeah.
And so Amber was frustrated with their relationship because Kevin wouldn't go outside and do stuff, anything new. Kevin just wanted to sit on the couch and smoke weed. What did they call? They called the couch the spaceship from Star Trek.
Oh, yeah. Voyager.
Voyager. Yeah, so he wanted to sit on his couch, Voyager, and smoke weed all day.
And watch movies.
And Amber approached him and said, I'm going to this reality TV show. By the way, I'm going to go to Mars. And Kevin is various phases of denial.
Yeah. He's going through the stages of grief.
He's definitely going through the stages of grief, 100%.
Yeah.
But Amber gets accepted. She goes on to the show where she meets someone that she's been emotionally cheating on Kevin with. Okay, Adam, which is fourth guy, by the way, number 4.
I don't know if you all can hear the change in Jake's tone, but his body language completely just changed.
So Amber
Yeah.
and Adam are sort of in...
Adam is the guy.
Adam is another...
He's the one that she had the emotional...
Yes.
I don't know if you said his name before. So.
Adam is another contestant on the show.
Okay.
Amber and Adam meet each other and they're like, ooh, golden eyes at each other, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And so they start going through the competition together and there's other contestants and everyone is a social media influencer. And Kevin and Amber don't know if they're currently in a relationship with each other.
Right.
They don't talk about it. And there becomes a point in the show where Amber has to lose access to her phone.
Yeah.
And so now Kevin's only connection to Amber is through watching the reality show and going on social media and commenting with other people about it. And so Kevin,
awful.
Which is awful. And Kevin's losing his mind.
Yeah.
He's super recluse. He has not been outside since Amber left.
Mm-hmm. I think he vowed not to.
He vowed not to. He's like, I'm not going outside. He blackout curtained the windows.
Yep.
And he just grows his weed and sits on the couch and people come over and buy weed from him or something. I don't really know. Oh,
And has an affair with Bronwyn.
Wait. Kevin makes money because Amber's reality show TV check shows up in their joint account.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. One of the people that he smokes weed with is Bronwyn. Mm-hmm. She has the hots for Kevin. I have no idea why. But they start smoking weed together and then he cheats on Amber even though they don't know if they're in a relationship with Bronwyn.
Yeah.
It's like, y'all, come on.
Gee.
It'd be great if you just texted each other, I don't think we should be in a relationship anymore.
Shouldn't have access to her phone.
She doesn't have access to her phone yet.
Right. So your horror part of this story was the relationship dynamics, right? Mm-hmm. To me, it was like the sleazy guy who's like, is he a director? Like, I don't know who
Producer.
the fuck he is. Yeah, okay, whatever. Sleazeball. He's like basically getting favors from her so she can have her phone. Or there's a constant threat of that. Like, he wants her to do stuff with him. Like, it's just a vibe. Mm-hmm. And she's constantly like putting it off and finding ways to avoid him and shit. Like that fucking garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Real
Nick.
life. Real fucking life.
Nick is the producer.
Yeah.
So Amber goes to Nick and says, hey, can I have my phone for like 5 seconds?
Yeah.
I just need to talk to somebody, whatever. And Nick says, no, it's clearly in the rules. And Amber bats her eyelashes. And sleazeball Nick is like, maybe I'll get some poon.
Yeah.
And so he gives her the phone. And the way that Amber keeps the phone is by starting to send him pictures of herself.
Yeah.
And solicit the relationship because she knows that Nick wants her. And so Nick will let her keep the phone if she keeps sending him what he wants.
Right. Gross.
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 This whole goddamn book was gross.
And there was a lot of like, she had trauma around her dad and wanting to please her dad.
Right.
There's a big part of that in like her decision to
Unpleasable parents.
unpleasable parents.
Yep.
And then Kevin perceived the reason that she cheated on him as like whether or not he would stay.
Oh, like a test of faith?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what happens next?
Well, Amber's progressing in the show fairly well. She's not eliminated. She makes a friend, a true friend,
Yeah.
who's also not eliminated. But then the producers get the wild idea that they are going to raid Amber's house where Kevin currently lives, or their apartment,
Yeah.
where Kevin currently lives. And Kevin has weed that he's been nourishing, and he just talked to the co-op delivery guy about starting an infused drink to be sold by the farm to other people on his route. And he was thinking, okay, positivity and business and everything. And then, like the cops show, 2 cops come in with producers and cameras and everything, and they throw him on the ground and they make a big scene of it and they handcuff him, they steal his plants, and
Yeah.
Kevin has like a freak out and he's like, please just like leave me alone, blah, blah, blah. Starts crying like a little girl, right? Which is how they want that scene to be perceived.
Right.
They wanted that reaction and they
Yes.
got it.
And they got it.
And Nick shows Amber a video of the raid, and Amber runs away from the show,
Yep. Runs back to Kevin.
runs all the way back to Vancouver where they live, and goes inside. And it's sort of this reunion that's gross
Yeah.
because they haven't really talked to each other. They don't know if they're still in a relationship. And they both think that it's going to be comforting, but they both feel like maybe it's not what they actually need.
Yeah.
And so Amber realizes that she actually does want to go to Mars. And Kevin's like, I hope you fail. And so she leaves, and Kevin never actually leaves the house. I mean, he stepped 1 foot out of the house
Yeah.
to get on his knees and beg her to stay. As she runs away to try to get to
Back to the
LA to get back to the show before they fly to Cancun or something. Nightmare.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so proud of you for finishing this book.
Oh my God.
It gets better though.
It doesn't.
I meant it gets better as in the relationship stuff gets even worse.
Oh. It gets
Listener, if you
worse.
thought this is as messy as it was going to get, you'd be wrong.
Oh my God.
Okay, so then,
She got on the flight to LA to go to the billionaire.
right, okay.
That was the next big scene.
That was the next big scene. So, Elon Musk-esh, billionaire, he's funding the
Joff.
space thing. Joff, that's his name, Joff. Anyway, billionaire, funding the space thing. One of the most disturbing pieces of this to me was this whole like faked interaction between her and him where he makes a move on her or whatever and she kind of acquiesced. But in the clip that came out after that,
After that. Yeehaw.
in the clip that came out after that, they had used like AI or something to
So
insert dialogue that she hadn't said.
this is fresh wounds in my mind.
Yeah.
She goes to the billionaire's houses with the rest of the contestants. The billionaire serves them a nice dinner, which they're not allowed to eat because you don't eat on camera. She's starving.
Yeah.
She goes exploring the mansion, and she goes up to, basically his mansion is shaped like,
A dick.
and she goes to the very tip.
I knew we'd have fun recording this episode. I knew that one, you would hate this book. And two, that we would have so much fun with it. And my dreams are coming true.
So she's at the tip of this dick billionaire house where there's a library.
I think it's a rocket, but, you know.
It's because it's the most efficient shape. Katie's dying.
We need an ad break. Oh my God. One of my aneurysms is going to rupture.
Hey, that's a hell of a way to die.
Right?
Laughing about a dick.
She just laughed too hard.
The stairwell is the urethra.
Oh my God. This is awful.
Wait. The tip of dick is knowledge.
Ew. I'm sure that's how some men experience that.
You got to know about this dick.
Oh my God.
Library. The library at the tip of your wiener. The tip of your wiener.
Oh man, I love doing this podcast with my brother.
10 minutes of dick jokes later.
Okay. You ready?
Oh yeah, I've been ready.
Welcome back.
So she goes to the tip of this dick library. She's holding it together.
Yep.
And Joff shows up and says, "This is my private library. I don't even let my wife on the tip of my dick."
Holding it together.
And he talks about neoliberalism. Mm-hmm. And he's got this book that predicted everything that's ever been wrong with the world or whatever. And he gives her alcohol and she can't refuse. She doesn't feel like she can refuse because he's a billionaire.
He's also funding the show.
And she feels like if she turns him down, he's in a position of power.
Yep.
Offers her alcohol. She hasn't had any food all day. And she starts to get a little tipsy after having the alcohol. And he kisses her. Mm-hmm. And she kisses him back.
Yep.
And what they do is they were recording that unbeknownst to her, even though she signed a contract saying that she'll be recorded all the time.
Yeah.
They recorded that unbeknownst to her. And they stitched together the words that she said to make it sound like she really wanted him. Like she initiated the kiss. It's a total debacle. The internet is like freaking out because the internet is in love with Adam and Amber as a couple at this point. Mm-hmm. You broke up A squared. You're a murderer. Blah, blah, blah. You know, internet people get all crazy and shit, which is engagement. And then
that was the satire about this whole thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so she still has her phone and Kevin calls her. Mm-hmm. And Kevin tells Amber, "You really want to go to Mars?" And Amber says, "Yes, I really want to go to Mars." And so Kevin says, "Then you need to beat this, right? I know you can do it," which is a really rare empowerment moment from Kevin.
Yeah.
I think it's the only.
After his whole like breakdown and like, yeah, good luck. I hope you don't win or whatever he said.
Yeah. He said a lot of really nasty stuff. Yeah. I mean, they both did.
Yeah.
So what Amber does is get on social media with Adam.
Yep.
Adam and her talk about radical forgiveness. Mm-hmm. Hashtag. It's like, it's sick. It's so sick. Like the way that we influence each other on the internet is amazing. By the way, share this podcast with your friends. Hashtag by its cover.
And now we're going to take another ad break. But seriously, that was a big part of this book, was the satire around that.
It was just, I mean, Debra Willis did such a good job on this book.
She did.
I fucking hated it so much.
Because it felt so real.
Because she's a good author.
Yeah.
Anyway. It's progressing. She convinces the world to do radical forgiveness. And now radical forgiveness is trending on social media. And she is not eliminated. She is picked with Adam to go to Mars.
Yep.
And so they get on the rocket and they're shot into space.
And there was a reveal about it. Wasn't there a reveal about it potentially not being safe? Like the billionaire had no real plan for what they would actually do there. I thought that was part of the reveal.
Yes. Yeah. So throughout the story, you sort of get hints that the billionaire doesn't actually have any idea how to make sustainable life on Mars.
Right. It's a publicity stunt.
And to add to that as well, they only had 2 months of training.
Yeah.
So they do a bunch of survival tests where they climb mountains with alpacas as like a preparation for going to Mars, and like some really far-fetched sort of thought processes around how skipping rocks on water and then running after the rock will actually help you survive in space. Like that kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then they get to Mars. They set up their little, I want to say camp. Mm-hmm. It's not very well thought out.
It's an inflatable tent.
And, you know, she was picked because of her ability as a hydroponics connoisseur. Mm-hmm. So she's growing these plants. They're eating these plants.
And crickets.
And they're running out of food. And she gets pregnant.
Mm-hmm. For the likes.
Was that why she got pregnant?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
I don't remember that part.
Yeah, so the way that I remember it being told in the book is that Adam and her wanted to document what giving birth on Mars would be like for social media.
But that's not why she got pregnant.
I mean, she got pregnant because they had sex.
Right. I don't think it, but once she was pregnant, they did want to do that. Mm-hmm. She's getting really unhealthy. I think they're missing a lot of nutrients.
So what happened was there's a lot of safety precautions that were skipped. Mm-hmm. And she got radiation poisoning.
That's right.
That turned into cancer.
That's right.
And so she had a tumor on her back that was shaped like a face.
Remember, I read this book like 5 months ago.
You're doing great.
And Jake just
I read this like 2 days ago. Because last episode, Katie said, I'm not reading another book until you read Girlfriend on Mars.
I haven't. I kept true to that promise.
Yep.
And here we are. Finally.
I did my job.
So, yeah. So she has this cancer. She gives this, their teeth are falling out from the radiation poisoning.
And the lack of nutrients.
And the baby.
Stillborn.
Yep.
Yep.
Not healthy looking. Yeah. And that's pretty much the end of the book. I mean, she dies.
She dies. Yeah.
She dies. It's presumed Adam's going to die.
They don't talk about Adam anymore. They told Kevin that Amber dies.
Yep.
Kevin texts his side piece, Bronwyn.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, I'm at the park with Marcus, your best friend. Why don't you come out of your house and go to the park with us? And they make this really big scene about if he's actually going to exit the house after 5 months of being in the house. And they end the book, or Debra ends the book, on him opening the door, but we don't know if he actually left.
Yeah. Really lighthearted book here.
Who should read this book, Katie?
People who enjoy satire.
Satire? You think this book is satire?
Absolutely.
You think it's a comedy?
Satire. It was dark comedy.
I don't.
It was not dark comedy, but it was a satirical representation of our like relationship with social media and climate change. Like one of the reasons why Amber wanted to leave was I think her and Kevin both felt a pretty high amount of despair over the state of the world and the state of climate change. And part of her desire, if I remember correctly, to leave was to start anew on a new world because this planet's fucked.
Yeah. Yeah, the greedy media corporations took advantage of Amber and all the contestants' desire to actually do good, profit off of it.
Exploited it. Yeah. And you sort of realize at the end that like they were always sending them up to die. Yeah. The whole time.
Yep.
They had no plan.
No plan
to keep these two alive. It didn't matter. The thing that mattered the most was getting the money from the people doing the show.
People watching the show, you mean?
Yeah.
The ad revenue and the merchandise and all of that.
Thing. Yep.
Affiliated, whatever.
Yeah. So I felt this was satire. It was very dark satire.
Okay.
Or at least a very dark comedy, a dark reflection of the state of our existence.
Yeah, I would consider this to be in the horror section. Like if, take Cunning Folk. I mean, I guess that was kind of horror because of the relationship. But I don't know. Take Here Lies a Vengeful Bitch.
Yeah.
And put it in adventure. And put this book in horror. And take Pale House Devil, take it out of horror, put it in adventure, and put this there.
We're just rearranging the genres of books.
I'm building my own bookshop shelf.
If you read Venomous Lumpsucker and you liked it, I really do think you would like this book.
What's our next book, Katie?
The Field Guide to Dumb Birds of the Whole Stupid World by Matt Crocked.
And I'll tell you, listeners, I took a peek in this book. It is hilarious. So you're definitely going to want to tune in for our next episode.
Next time on Vice Cover.
Bye.
Bye.